is Jaguars Happy Hour. And now, a guy who always keeps all of his resolutions in a jar, on a shelf, in the kitchen, J.P. Shadrick.
Welcome in. It is Jaguars Happy Hour on this Thursday, January 3rd. January 2nd. What day is this? January 2nd. I've lost track of it.
Goodness gracious.
I have a resolution to keep track of things better, and I've already lost it.
Well, you got a lot going on.
There's a lot happening. Final week of the regular season. What's left for the Jaguars? And probably more importantly, what's next for the Jaguars? We'll get into that coming up. Baptist Health Injury Report. Doug Pederson Show coming up at 5 o'clock. We're on 1010XL 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Happy New Year, Jeff.
Happy New Year. Hoping for a good year. Once again, 2024 was a good year, but a trying year. And I hope it's a lot better in 2025.
Jaguar land?
Yeah, I think that's part of it. Yeah, for sure. And I think 2025 going forward, I think that most importantly, I think what a lot of Jaguar fans would like to have is a little bit of clarity. What the future holds and what this team can be and what's the direction of this franchise and because one way or the other, that's what fans want. They want to know what's next. Because right now, is there really any interest in a game that really doesn't have a whole lot of meaning?
It doesn't have much meaning at all. It has nothing to do with the standings.
It does for draft position, and look, you grasp on really anything that you can have sometimes, and that right now is an opportunity to have a winning record in the division, an opportunity to sweep another division opponent, and those things are all fine and dandy. But I think in the grand scheme of things, I think most fans want to see a team win and do well, but they also want to know what the future holds.
Maybe we'll find out next week.
We don't know.
Don't know.
We don't know.
Head coach Doug Pederson earlier this week on the approach going into the final week of a lost season.
Well, obviously you're trying to win the game, bottom line. So the key is to make sure that everybody stays locked in and focused on the task at hand, right? That's the most important thing. And then you want your team to prepare this week for that. I don't necessarily use it as developmental, for anybody. I think that you still go in and the guys that are healthy and can play. But again, if there's somebody that's dressing that is a younger player, you might want to get him in and see what he can do.
That's head coach Doug Pederson. I guess at this point, Logs, how many true developmental guys are there left that haven't done anything yet? Not many.
Well, this is the NFL. It's professional football. It's not like this is a farm team, that's trying to grow good football players for the future. The reality is that the majority of the players that you have, you're utilizing already. And some of the ones that aren't playing for a reason. Now, sometimes there are developmental players or younger players that aren't playing that may be close to being at the level of some of the guys that are playing. And in the future, you may sit there and go, okay, look, the reality is that player X, who we expect to move on from, player Y is a young player that we have that we're hopeful for, excited for. Let's let him go because he's close to where player X is. That's really about it. It's not like you can all of a sudden, or you have a JV team and, hey, we're going to go ahead and just elevate the whole JV team and let them play this week.
The B team game.
Yeah, it's not like you have that. So, it is what it is. There's probably, out of the entire roster, there's one guy. DeAndre Prince is a guy that we haven't really seen yet.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else we've seen to some extent at some point. Keelan Robinson is another one. But
Jordan Jefferson.
Jordan Jefferson played well last week. I think I told you in weeks past, I like him. I think he's strong. I think he's physical. He's very tough at the point. And the reality is that somebody has to go down for him to get up, whether it's Tyler Lacey, Devon Hamilton, one of those type of players, because that's the position that he plays, kind of that bigger defensive tackle / nose tackle. And I thought he played well. Kudos to him. He played well.
Secondary, you mentioned Prince, but
I think real quick, I think it'd be a great argument, JP.
Yes.
To say, okay, well, who's going to be the nose tackle going forward? Jordan Jefferson, Devon Hamilton. That's an honest question, and because you kind of compare the two, similar players, similar roles, similar traits, big, strong, space eater kind of guy. Devon Hamilton, been around a little longer, but then you also factor in, okay, pay. How much is one player getting versus the other player?
Yeah.
There's a very big difference in there, and at some point, the economy or the reality of economy in football has to be looked at, and that's also something that has to be taken into consideration, and that would be an honest question.
Devon Hamilton, 3-year, $34.5 million contract, and you could probably there's still dead cap money next year.
Well, and also with Devon, is he playing to that level? I mean, that's the question that you ask, and I would say that since he's had the back injury, he's been a solid player, but I don't think he's been the player that you were expecting when you gave him that contract.
PRI Productions, the official event production company of the Jags, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. The Jaguars and the Colts coming up this Sunday at Lucas Oil Stadium. We're on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, and Jaguars YouTube. One young guy really playing well is Brian Thomas Jr., clearly. And he, among the Jaguars players today that were named as Pro Bowlers, well, he's an alternate. He's the first alternate at wide receiver, Brian Thomas Jr. Congratulations to Logan Cook, Jaguars punter, Ross Matisic, Jaguars long snapper. They are starters for the AFC in the Pro Bowl. Josh Hines-Allen, Trayvon Walker also named as alternates for the Pro Bowl. So
down the road alternates, not like first alternates or anything like that.
Fourth and fifth. It would take a few defections for them to get in there, but BTJ has a chance. But Logan Cook gets his first nod in the Pro Bowl, and Ross Matisic his second year in a row.
Yeah, deserving. I think you could make the argument that the Jaguars have the best three specialists in the National Football League. And I'm being serious about that. I mean, if you consider age, performance, all of the above, I would say that the Jaguars have the best three that there is. Cam Little has had a wonderful year. If you look at his field goal percentage, the Jaguars are fourth in the National Football League with a field goal percentage of 92.3, and that's all Cam Little. He's had a game winner when given the opportunity last time against the Colts. Logan Cook is not only an outstanding punter, but he's also a great holder for Cam Little. I remember a couple years ago talking to Joe DeCamillis, who's arguably one of the best special teams coaches in the National Football League for years, has always said that Logan Cook he thought was the best holder in the National Football League. And so when you have a young kicker that comes in, to have somebody of that caliber is great. A snapper of the caliber of Ross Matisic, also the ability for him to cover. Congratulations to those two guys, and very deserving. And sometimes when you play on a team that's not very good, it's hard to get the recognition, and I'm glad they did.
Let's hear from Logan Cook just outside the Jaguars locker room, finally making it to the Pro Bowl.
There's a sense of relief just because I feel like I've had a few seasons that were good enough. Again, it's all part of God's timing, and that's something I've had to trust, and it's kind of sometimes it's hard to trust that, But, yeah, it all worked out when it was supposed to work out, so I'm excited. I mean, I think statistically, yes, as of now. I know we have one more game left. It was definitely by far my best until Oakland, just kind of down game, which, those are going to happen. And but, yeah, I think probably statistically probably one of my best, so.
That's Logan Cook. Of course, by Oakland, he means Las Vegas, the Raiders. It happens to everybody from time to time.
Yeah, everybody has a bad day at the office. The one thing also about Logan, which a lot of people don't think of because they just say, okay, he's a punter. He does the same thing over and over and over. He literally has about 5 to 7 different ways that he punts a ball. Whether it's the helicopter, the end over end, the kick it deep spiral, get as much distance as you can, a higher hang time. And it's very, I think, difficult sometimes for return units to kind of get a bead on what he's going to do. And on top of that, he does a great job of directional punting and also of angle kicking to where the punt is landing out of bounds, and then he's getting a really good spot and a net. The only guy that's ahead of him, I think, in net punting average in the National Football League, I believe, is Jack Fox of the Detroit Lions, who's number 1.
That's right.
And Logan is number 2 in the National Football League in net punting average, and so well-deserved there. Ross Matisic, I thought, should have been there last year. You could make an argument that both of those guys should have been there last year.
Ross was.
Well, I mean, both of them. Ross and
the combo.
Exactly, the combination of the two of them. And because Ross, last year, I think he was like the highest-rated special teams player on PFF.
That's right, yeah, because he had a bunch of tackles and a forced fumble and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, he had a really strong year.
He had linebacker time in college at Baylor, which helps him, obviously, down the field, tackling situations, so you have to really account for him.
Well, and the most important thing of what he does is that he's really good with snapping. Because all those other things don't matter.
Guess what? The name of the position is long snapper. You might want to be good at that.
Well, it's actually just snapper, which I don't know if he wants to be called that. Some may take offense with that term, but long snapper, short snapper, because back in the day there was a differentiation between the two of them. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, because the player is protected on short snapping, now you can have a 230-pound, if you want to, a 200-pound guy doing the short snapping. Back in the day when they could line up 2 guys on the head of the snapper, you weren't even thinking about a 230-pound guy doing the short snapping. But now they protect him, which is smart. It's smart instead of having those guys just get crushed all the time. But Ross is great. His velocity is great. His accuracy is great. And then a lot of people don't realize this when it comes to short snapping. When the snapper snaps the ball, he literally is trying to get the ball to rotate a certain number of exact times so that when the holder catches the ball, he catches it literally with the laces outward. So all he has to do is place the ball down and hold it with the one finger. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't realize that and think that they just catch it and then they spin the ball before the kicker kicks it. No. The whole idea of short snapping is to have the ball spin perfectly once caught by the holder, so all he has to do is place it, not spin it whatsoever.
Absolutely. That's the case, and it's all these guys work on all day long at practices is that science behind that, and you might get a handful of opportunities a game to go execute.
Well,
they don't know your name until you don't execute.
Yeah, until you mess it up. Right. Until you mess it up. But it's a really good threesome, and those guys are always pretty unique. Spending time with, having spent time in locker room with those guys, they have a lot more free time than other guys. For example, they're not in meetings all day. They got a little bit of free time. I remember when here in the early days we had Brian Barker and Mike Hollis, and they'd be out there with their remote control cars in the parking lot racing each other and stuff. You're like, dude, why don't you get a real job? Do something. Like go hit the weight room or study film but anyway. But it's
But congratulations to those guys. And
Brian Thomas Jr., by the way, real quick on him. Yeah. I'm a little disappointed to some extent that he didn't make first team.
Yeah, you could argue, he has better numbers than the two guys that
Zay Flowers, Nico Collins. He's got better numbers than both of those guys. Mm-hmm. Nico Collins been hurt for a little bit, but the Pro Bowl, a lot of times it takes you 2 years to make it. 1 year to get the recognition, the second year to get the votes.
The starters in the AFC, Jamar Chase, Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, and then those two guys are very deserving. Mm-hmm. And then you have Nico Collins and Zay Flowers.
You almost said Zay Jones.
I did.
Yeah.
Very close to that.
Right. There's only 2 Zays that I know of. We're back in a moment, and we'll rewind, Logs. We're going to look back all the way back to Week 5. What happened Week 5?
That was the meeting with Indianapolis.
It was. It's a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
Seems like another season ago. We'll review it when we come back. Kai Stevens joins us in studio at 4:30 today. Then at 5 o'clock, the Doug Pederson Show. We'll have the head coach in studio with us. And this is Jaguars Happy Hour.
Are you ready to love how you feel, look, and live in every season? At Elace, we offer more than just luxury med spa treatments. We provide a serene, judgment-free space where you can reconnect with the best version of you. Whether you want to refresh your natural look with Botox or Dysport, pamper yourself with a relaxing hydrofacial, or rejuvenate your complexion with laser resurfacing, our expert team in Jacksonville is here to tailor treatments to your needs. Visit Elace.com today and start your journey to loving yourself.
Headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida, CSI Companies partners with leading healthcare and technology organizations nationwide to deliver workforce solutions. CSI prides itself on building meaningful relationships and provides personalized operations to fuel the success of businesses, both big and small. Whether it's finding the right talent for a job or seamlessly managing a project from start to finish, CSI has 3 decades of experience in getting the job done. This is your Workforce Solutions reimagined. Visit CSICompanies.com.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans covering repairs on up to 5,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call 800-471-1223. Coverage varies by plans. View contracts and exclusions at carshield.com.
It's here that a tiny newborn has the heart surgery needed to save her life. It's here that a first grader learns to speak clearly and confidently. It's here that a 12-year-old athlete builds the strength to run full speed again. It's here at Wolfson Children's Hospital that answers are found, courage is shown, and odds are beaten every day. Wolfson Children's, always here. Visit wolfsonchildrens.com.
Does propane power your home or business? Count on AmeriGas for expert propane delivery with a neighborly smile. At AmeriGas, the official propane partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, their drivers deliver for Duval. Their local team will keep your home or business running smoothly throughout football season and beyond. Call 844-PRO-JAGS for a free propane quote today. Grilling this tailgate season? Visit AmeriGas.com to find your closest cylinder exchange location and keep it teal with a custom Jaguars wrapped grill tank.
It's game time, Jaguars fans, and Publix knows that football is all about pairings. A high-scoring offense paired with a stingy defense. A rocket-armed QB paired with a dynamic wide receiver. And at Publix, you can pair hot deli chicken tenders with savory dips, delicious sub-platters with ice-cold beverages, and you can pair these tailgate essentials with an entire parking lot full of Jaguars fans chanting, Duval! Gear up for your tailgate at Publix, the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, they got more guys on defense back, than before. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor, we know what he can do, and 2 weeks ago he was 218 yards and about 120-plus yards this past weekend. I mean, just a solid running back. Anthony Richardson, again, he's rushed for 500 yards. This season, a lot of it's scrambles, but some of it's been designed runs. And, so offensively they've changed dynamic, a little bit, in that regard. Defensively, these guys, it's another good defensive front, with 90 and 99 coming off the ball. They're 2 really good D tackles in this league that present problems and our hands are full there.
Head coach Doug Pederson earlier this week discussing the Indianapolis Colts, who have been eliminated from playoff contention with their inexplicable loss to the Giants last week. Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour as we head into Week 18. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. We're at the Hyundai Studios, the Miller Electric Center, 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com. And Jaguars YouTube, the Jaguars and the Colts coming up 1 o'clock Sunday from Lucas Oil Stadium in downtown Indianapolis. But way back in Week 5, the Jaguars hosted the Indianapolis Colts, and it was a wild one at the bank. The Jaguars led 20-10 at the start of the fourth quarter. The Colts scored 24 fourth-quarter points. It came down to a field goal with 17 seconds left. Cam Little from 49 yards hit the game winner. Tank Bigsby had a big run. Brian Thomas Jr. had really his big breakout with an 85-yard touchdown in the game. Trevor Lawrence threw for 371 and 2 scores. And the Jaguars got their first win of the season against a Colts team that was without Jonathan Taylor that day. The running back was inactive.
Well, and let's not forget about the Jaguars' defense nearly epic collapse at the end of that game that allowed Indianapolis to score. I think it was 14 points in 90 seconds. Alec Pierce had like 3 catches for 140-plus yards at the end of the game. I mean, it shouldn't even have been a close contest. The way that thing ended was a huge disappointment, but nonetheless, because it was the first one of the season, it was, a good feeling. But when you look back on it, you go, how in the world can that happen? But it did. And it looks like Joe Flacco is going to be back at the helm again.
Yeah, Anthony Richardson didn't practice again today, so all right, you know what's going to happen. Joe Flacco's not going to run all over the yard, so he's going to throw it all over the yard.
2 things here. If I'm thinking about it from a team standpoint, I want Anthony Richardson to be playing because he's a sub 50% passer. He's only a legitimate running threat. He hasn't figured out how to play quarterback, and on top of that, he might tap out. Not a bad thing. Okay, but Joe Flacco is not the best, most accurate passer in the world, but he is aggressive, throws the ball down the field. If you compared the numbers of Pittman and Alec Pierce with AR or with Joe Flacco, it's not even close. And if you ask those 2 guys, they'd rather have Joe Flacco playing. They scored a lot of points against the Giants last week with Joe Flacco. It's just the Colts defense, we'll get to that in a minute, was abysmal. But if I'm a pass rusher, okay, I want to have Joe Flacco because I know he's going to pass, number 1. Number 2, he's not going anywhere.
You know where he's going to be.
So if I'm Trayvon trying to get to double digits, sitting there at 9.5 sacks, I want Joe Flacco. If I'm Josh Hines-Allen trying to get a Jaguar team record sacks in a career, I want Joe Flacco. If I'm a Jaguars fan or Jaguars player just in general, I want Anthony Richardson. He doesn't scare me. The only thing that he worries me about is his ability to run. But as a passer, the Indianapolis Colts got to seriously consider moving on in the offseason. And that's not a good position to be in when you have a number 4 overall pick in his second year that you're sitting there maybe even thinking about that. I'm not saying they are thinking about that, but I guarantee a lot of them are thinking about that and that we at least have to maybe have some kind of alternative plan because right now it's not looking good. And here's a crazy number for you. Anthony Richardson has started 15 out of a possible 33 games so far. That means 18 games he was injured and did not play. Okay? Now, out of those 15 games, he didn't finish 5 of them. Seriously, so he's played fragile 10 games in their entirety out of a possible 33 games so far in his career. And it looks like he's not going to play this week, so it's going to be 10 out of a possible 34 in his career. That's not a good place to be.
And when he's been out there, to your point about his passing numbers, among 34 qualified quarterbacks this year, he's last in the league in completion percentage, 48%. Last in the league in touchdown to interceptions.
What was that percentage again?
48.
You're saying below 50%.
48 is last I checked, below 50, yes.
Okay.
8 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. That ratio is last. Passer rating of 61.6, last in the league. For Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, that's not good. But he hadn't practiced yet this week.
No.
It doesn't look like he's going to be playing. And, his head coach kind of left him out to dry a little bit last week when he was talking about him and his injury. He kind of said, well, his back is sore. He's not practicing. We'll see about whether or not he's going to play.
He left the team out to dry sometime? Anthony Richardson, when he tapped out of the game.
That's my point. That's my point.
Two-way street.
So a lot of people were thinking that he was tapping out again. And then Anthony Richardson came out, I guess, and responded, said that, look, I couldn't even stand up on Tuesday. I've got a disc issue. They're saying that it doesn't need surgery, but it just doesn't look good. And then Pat McAfee got involved with the whole tap out / podcast thing. There was a podcast issue with Zaire Franklin and EJ Speed. They're doing a podcast with the Colts, and those kind of things can be very dangerous, when you want to kind of become stars or whatever, and then all of a sudden you start making comments about other players and other teams, and then all of a sudden karma happens, and all of a sudden it bites you.
So you just kept when you played, you kept your off the, not just regular locker room media, right? You did your media in the outdoors space. So you kept it away from football.
Well, I did a weekly football show as well.
You did football
TV,
too?
Yeah. Yeah, I was part of a show with Sam Kavaris when I was playing. But, you have to understand that, look, everything that you say can be scrutinized and be reprinted, resaid, shown to the opponents.
Especially today, in this day and age. You can flip it around in 10 seconds and have it out there.
So you can do things like that, but you just have to be respectful and also understanding that your words may end up coming back to haunt you if you're not careful. And EJ Speed and Zaire Franklin, without going into great detail, but if you want to be entertained, it was from The Athletic, which is the New York Times. The guy wrote an article about some of the things that are going on with the Indianapolis Colts organization, from the head coach to Pat McAfee to the podcast gate to Anthony Richardson. I mean, it describes the organization in an absolute state of disarray.
One guy that has not been in disarray lately is Jonathan Taylor, the running back. Over the last 3 games, 450 yards rushing and multiple touchdowns the last 2 weeks for him, warming up towards the end of the season. He did not play in the first matchup this year, but we know firsthand what he can do if given the opportunity to break free. He had a 253-yard game against this team way back in 2020. That has been a while, but
thanks for that reminder.
And he's been inactive. He hasn't played against the Jaguars but once over the last 4 meetings.
Well, his average is still pretty good, even though he doesn't play those games.
Right, he didn't play this year. He missed the first meeting last year, missed the second meeting in 2022.
Yeah, he's hot right now. 343 yards rushing in the last 2 weeks, and I know you alluded to the 5 touchdowns. Those have both been in the last 2 weeks. And with one more touchdown, he is going to break the Colts franchise record for most touchdowns in a person's first 5 years of a career, which, by the way, Lenny Moore, the Hall of Famer, has that record for the Colts. Colts, and going back quite some time to the Baltimore days, I believe.
I'd say.
So, I mean, look, he's a great player, and it's a good offensive line that's up front. They've had some injury issues up front with the Colts offensive line when the Jaguars met them in Week 5. Many considered them one of the top 3 offensive lines in football, right up there with the Philadelphia Eagles. Who else would be up there at the top? I'm trying to think. Philadelphia Eagles.
What are we talking about?
Best offensive lines in football.
Ravens.
Ravens are kind of up there a little bit.
Cowboys, but their guys are hurt.
Yeah, they've kind of fallen off a little bit. But the Colts were considered, I think, top 2, top 3 in the National Football League. Now they've kind of dropped a little bit because they've had a lot of injuries. But it's still a good offensive line. Kelly's back in the lineup at center. Quentin Nelson's playing really well at left guard. The left tackle, Ryman's a good football player. They've got a rookie playing right tackle. They got Glowinski back at right guard, who was hurt earlier in the year. So they're settling back in. And one of the reasons why they have all the yards rushing that they do in the last 2 games has been the performance of that group. Pretty good.
Let's come back in a moment. We'll hear more from head coach Doug Pederson and Kainani Stevens. Jaguars reporter will join us in studio ahead of Week 18, the Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts coming up. Register your furry friend for the Jaguars official 4-legged fan club for pets presented by Forever Vets Animal Hospital. Your pet will receive access to exclusive merchandise, events, and sweepstakes throughout the season, which ends this week. You better hurry. Jaguars.com/promotions/4-legged fan club and sign up today. On 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, and Jaguars YouTube, this is Jaguars Happy Hour.
Hey Jags fans, stop dreaming of creating your game day fan cave and build the Jaguars den of your dreams with ZipChair. When it comes to maximum comfort, ZipChair.com is the only place for officially licensed Jaguars recliners, sofas, bar stools, office and gaming chairs, all featuring high-quality embroidered Jags logos. Crack open a few cold ones in the comfort of a Zip Chair and make your home the place to be on game day. Head over to ZipChair.com and save 20% today. Use code JagsRadio at checkout. ZipChair.com, furniture for fans.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's the Get Holiday Ready sales event with Hank and Sam from the Ford crew. Today, a new shipment of inventory.
Hank, what's going on?
Another hauler full of new Ford trucks and SUVs, Sam.
So much SUV capability. Is that?
Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks for 47 years. And a big selection means...
Big savings?
Yep, which means...
It's the best time to buy?
Well done, Sam. And time for America to get holiday ready with Ford.
Based on 1977 to 2023 CY Industry reported total sales.
Tackle your marketing needs with Kessler Creative. Providing direct mail services for more than a decade, Kessler has a wide range of services from small mailers to large banners and signs. Draft Kessler as your first pick to receive the best targeted mail list. Elevate your business and be on the winning team with Kessler Creative. Kessler Creative, results-driven marketing and proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
You say there's nothing quite like the feel of the open road when you ride a motorcycle. You know it takes concentration, knowledge, and skills beyond those required to drive a car. Ride Smart Florida would like to take this opportunity to remind you to enjoy the road, but to always ride smart. S-M-A-R-T. Say no to drinking and riding. Make yourself more visible to motorists. Always wear your helmet. Ride in control. Train regularly and get endorsed. Visit RideSmartFlorida.com for more details. Do you ride smart? This message is provided by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Looking for the perfect place to host a business trip, corporate group, or social gathering? Look no further than the award-winning Sheraton Jacksonville Hotel, proudly part of the Marriott family of hotels. Centrally located next to the St. John's Town Center off Gate Parkway in JTB, they offer everything you need, whether you're hosting a meeting or just unwinding with friends at the BC Grill and Patio. Discover unmatched comfort and convenience. Visit SheratonJacksonville.com for exclusive game day special rates and book your stay today.
But when those two guys are playing and playing at a high level, it makes it hard on quarterbacks. It makes it hard on offensive linemen, tackles. And, you know, this year coming in, kind of learning a new scheme, some new technique things, takes a little time, you know, and they're working through that as the season has gone on. And you know, but you get in those known passing situations, you just want to cut these guys loose and let them go play.
Head coach Doug Pederson this week discussing Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker. Both are Pro Bowl alternates announced today, 4th and 5th, Hines-Allen and Walker respectively. Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour from the Hyundai Studios, 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube, all the places, JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, and every week at 4:30, Kainani Stevens in studio. Good afternoon.
Every week, week 18.
This is our last one, I think.
This is our last one.
For a little while.
I think so. For a little bit. This feels like a long season. Has it felt like a long season to anyone else?
Snail's pace, this thing.
Gosh, yes.
Well, how many weeks have team been out of contention, mathematically eliminated?
5 weeks?
It's going to be at least 5 or 6, right?
5 or 6?
Something like that.
Felt like longer than that.
I think technicalities, right? For a while.
Right. I mean, you know, when you have a 1% or 5%
I think it was that
chance or whatever.
Houston game, right? And then, technically the next week we were still in it, but not really. Once we lost the Houston game.
Right. Yeah. We could have, won them all and everybody else loses them all and snuck in back door with, 5 weeks left or something.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah. No chance.
One of the greatest lines of a movie of all time.
Excellent.
So here we are, Week 18, Jaguars-Colts rematch. Jags got them back in Week 5. Anthony Richardson didn't play in that game. Neither did Jonathan Taylor, who is back and is rolling right now. So I guess that's the number one priority on defense is don't let him get loose this week.
Yeah, and obviously Jonathan Taylor's been a huge problem for this defense when he is played and been healthy, so that is a concern. My mentality for this will be a little bit of where the effort's going to be at, as much as it was last week with the Titans, like kind of who wants to play, who wants to win this game. Obviously the Jaguars have a lot of younger players that are out there trying to make a name for themselves, hadn't got a lot of playing time maybe earlier in the season, so they're trying to do a little something. Titans really kind of laid an egg last week. I mean, not Titans, excuse me, the Colts really laid an egg last week, so I don't know what that's going to look like this week. Is essentially what I'm saying. If it's the same kind of effort, then I think the Jags should be fine. But
really big egg.
Yeah.
Bad.
So
yeah, that's dunk too.
Yeah, but look, I mean, Jaguars had one like that last year against Tennessee.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
To end the season, So I mean, this is
even along that whole stretch on the back end, the Tampa Bay game on Christmas Eve, that was terrible. There was a lot of bad ones. So we've obviously been there before. We understand that. I will say, as we've been talking, they've been out of contention for a bit, but you've still seen that effort, and maybe that's because of so many younger players playing. But again, I think a lot of it will be, I think you'll be able to tell around kickoff what it might end up looking like.
I'm wondering how, the Colts are going to bounce back after that.
Right, because it's not like there's even, hey, let's kind of regroup for the last month. This is their last game. So if that was the effort you put out last week, I don't know
There's
how that's going to go.
A lot of conversation going on. And first thing that really stood out to me was all of a sudden the practice report on the injury report for the Colts was an estimation on Wednesday because they didn't practice. Who in the hell doesn't practice?
After that showing.
I mean, I was shocked. And I don't know. I mean, were they maybe a little hungover from New Year's Eve? Party a little bit too much.
Maybe they gave them like a little day to rehab or recoup.
And if I'm the coach, I hope that it wasn't, hey guys, we're just going to have a walkthrough Wednesday, so make your and players they would have known now. They're like, woo, here we go. Let's bring in the new year.
Would you go to Cancun or Cabo if you were trying to mail it in?
I believe Cabo's the new, right?
It's further away. It's a long flight, I think.
Sure, but then you're a little more isolated because you're farther away from people. Cancun's
Ocean.
A little more populated, I would imagine.
Pacific Ocean, Gulf of Mexico. I don't know.
It's your preference point. Or do you go Caribbean, Turks and Caicos, something like that?
Maybe.
Way prefer that.
See?
Turks and Caicos is amazing. I'd rather bring in the new year there.
There you
go. What do they say about Cabo and what's the other one you gave?
Cancun. What do they say about them, Jeff?
I've been to Cancun before, and I might need to go to Cancun right now so I can lose some weight.
Oh, it's one of those. Okay, if you're
Montezuma's.
Yeah, I'm aware. Thank you.
Yeah, don't
you didn't
drink
heat
the
water.
Yeah, I didn't drink the water. I brushed my teeth, I guess.
That's why you drank the water.
Foolish.
Yeah. All right, let's move along quickly.
Yes.
Looking for the MVP of the truck game. Better check out the 2024 Ford F-150 loaded with impressive capability and game-changing tech. You can dominate work, play, and everything in between. Test drive an F-150 at your local Ford dealer. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars on 1010XL, 92.5, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. Jeff, you're pointing at me.
So I kind of flashback here because the last
Jeff
time,
on vacation?
the last time I was in Cancun, this is kind of funny. Do you guys remember the on ABC Sports, right? I mean, on Saturdays, ABC's Wide World of Sports. Mm-hmm. Do you remember the Superstars?
I do not.
Faintly.
You guys are too young to remember the Superstars? My goodness. Really? Okay, anyway.
Well, tell us more.
Obviously, no. So
please tell us more.
Superstars was kind of this thing to where they had athletes from all across the spectrum. Football, baseball, track athletes. And they would bring them all together, and they competed in the Superstars. And so they would have different events,
like riding
races, a bike.
Okay.
So not their own events, like other
paddling,
stuff.
a kayak. Mm-hmm. I don't know, all kinds of things.
Okay.
I was there.
You were in the show.
I competed.
You're a superstar.
In the Superstars.
What did you do?
Back in 90, I want to say it was winter of 92.
Was it deer hunting?
No, they didn't have any of that because I would have won that category.
I know, just checking.
Down. But I did win the kayak paddling contest.
Excellent. Who did you beat? Do you recall?
If you've ever fished, you know how to paddle a boat and keep it going straight. And these guys couldn't keep the boat
amateur
going
hour.
straight, you know. It was a kayak. I think it was a rowboat.
Who else was in the field? Who'd you beat?
Christian Okoye. I'd have to sit there and think. Brian Jordan, baseball player, two sports star. Right. There was a track athlete there. I'd have to go back and look, but it was
But this was in Cancun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the Cancun.
And that's where I ended up getting a little ill in the stomach. And
that's great.
Well, I mean, you were paddling, so maybe it was
lost some weight. I was partying a little bit too, if I remember.
I thought you were in bed by 8:30 every night.
Had some ice. Had some ice in those drinks.
Not a chance. That might have impacted it too.
Yeah.
All those ice-filled drinks. Yeah.
Jaguars have Pro Bowlers, Kai.
They sure do. Pretty cool.
We heard from Logan Cook earlier. We'll hear from Ross Madison coming up in a little bit. The Jaguars long snapper and punter are in. There are 3 alternates as well. Brian Thomas Jr., Josh Hines-Allen, Trayvon Walker. But, I mean, we've talked about punters and long snappers in this show already, but there's a reason that Ross Madison's going back and a reason why Logan Cook's finally getting his nod.
There are concerns I have about this team on most facets of this, most facets of the game, but special teams is not one of them. I'm happy the specialists are being recognized. Obviously, if you don't say the long snapper's name, that's a good thing, and we don't talk about Ross a ton, so that's good. And then Logan's just obviously very gifted at what he's able to do and his specific placement of the football. We've seen a ton of that over the years, and unfortunately, he's punted a lot this year, so we've seen that quite a bit. And yeah, I'm just happy for them. That's great. Hopefully, Brian Thomas, I believe, is one of the first alternates. So if someone decides not to go, we should see him in as well.
Yeah,
that would be really great.
He'll make it.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, always, even, I think, because at least 3 of the 4, I think, are on playoff teams. So by that, I mean, most people usually opt out because
if I'm Jamar Chase, I'm not
going
risking.
to that.
I'm not going to that. I'm not risking getting injured.
Also, it's a long season. You're tired at that point. They don't do it after the season anymore. It's now in
he
between,
doesn't have the big contract yet.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a no-brainer for Jamar Chase to opt out on that. No way. I mean, if you're in your first year of a contract like Brian Thomas Jr., it's different. But Jamar Chase is getting ready to get paid $32 million a year.
Yeah.
Are you going to put $32 million a year?
Nope. We'll take the nod and just stay home.
No, you take your Pro Bowl, you can have it.
Also,
I'll
they
go
don't
there
even play anymore, right? It's like flag football
babies.
now, or what is it exactly?
It doesn't matter.
I agree. I'm just saying, like, in terms of actually
Anything
going
you put
to the
yourself
event.
at risk of?
From what I recall, it was interesting.
I've got our crack research staff has gone back and looked at the Superstars results from 1992.
Mike Powell, I just remembered his name.
Yeah, you didn't win.
No, I didn't win.
Darn thing.
No,
was I lied to?
The paddling category.
Was I lied to?
No, you didn't.
What?
Not in the kayaking. Mike Powell won it. You finished 8th.
Jeff.
Did I? Now this is all combined.
Yeah,
this is all
combined. What are you talking about?
I
won the paddling event. Come on.
That's great.
But I will tell you,
I don't think you did though.
I did the swimming thing, and I remember this. And so every day there were certain events, and
did you win them all?
So
in Jeff's mind, he won every event.
I overslept. So I wake up and I looked at my watch and I went, oh my God. And I didn't say, oh my God, something else. Oh my God, I've got to be down at the pool in like 10 minutes. The race starts. And so there I go. I got hair laying sideways, got major bedhead, was out very late the night before.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a mullet?
Very bad influence from, the tight end from Kansas City that hung out with McCoy. Me and him were hanging out. Anyway, I get down to the pool. I start swimming at the snap of the gun. I almost drowned in a 5-foot pool. It was not good. It was not a good swimming effort. I might have had to put my feet on the bottom of the pool to make it back to the wall.
Just stand up, Jeff. Please just stand
good.
up.
Yeah, here's by the way, you finished second in weightlifting.
Yes.
To Seth Joyner.
Yeah, Seth Joyner, by the way, great linebacker, Philadelphia Eagles blitzing guy. Super good dude, too.
I got you third in kayaking.
No, I didn't get third.
That's what the website says.
That's not
fake
right.
news.
Maybe I won my heat.
Maybe the heat.
There we go. That's what it was.
Now we're talking.
All right, we got there.
Hey, Jaguars All Access tonight. We need to put him through some obstacle courses or something. What do you got? Who are the guests?
The specialists on a special hour-long episode tonight.
Yeah.
So we'll have the 2 Pro Bowlers and also Cam Little with us as well.
Are we going to have a meal break since it's an hour long?
Jeff, for you, they would do anything, I am sure.
Intermission?
I don't think I have it in me because Jeff brought in venison chili today.
I did.
I am very full.
It was really good.
Really good. Thank the wife, not me. My wife.
Thanks, Tara.
Amazing cook. Amazing.
Always thanks to Tara. Always.
Hour long tonight.
An
It's
hour.
Sports
1 hour.
Brewery in Springfield on Main Street, just above, what is that, 8th Street there?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, 9th, 8th?
Yeah, somewhere up that
sounds
way.
right.
Somewhere up. It's right there on Main
In
Street.
between, yeah.
Can't miss it.
Yeah.
Check it out. Specialists will
Looking
be there
forward
tonight.
to it.
Logs will be there. Hi, Nani Stevens will be there as
Yes,
always.
I will. I shall.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Sky Stevens joining us in studio. We're back with the Baptist Health Injury Report. And then at 5 o'clock, we'll have the head coach in studio, Doug Pederson, with us for the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network. This is Jaguars Happy Hour.
It's game time, Jaguars fans, and Publix knows that football is all about pairings. A high-scoring offense paired with a stingy defense. A rocket-armed QB paired with a dynamic wide receiver. And at Publix, you can pair hot deli chicken tenders with savory dips, delicious sub-platters with ice-cold beverages, and you can pair these tailgate essentials with an entire parking lot full of Jaguars fans chanting, Duval! Gear up for your tailgate at Publix, the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's the Get Holiday Ready sales event with Hank and Sam from the Ford crew. Today, a new shipment of inventory.
Hank, what's going on?
Another hauler full of new Ford trucks and SUVs, Sam.
So much SUV capability. Is that?
Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks for 47 years. And a big selection means...
Big savings?
Yep, which means...
It's the best time to buy?
Well done, Sam. And time for America to get holiday ready with Ford.
Based on 1977 to 2023 CY Industry reported total sales.
Unlock your potential at the University of North Florida. A beautiful campus with an inspiring environment for learning, UNF is a key partner to Florida's booming industries, providing students with direct access to internships and jobs. Set a new course at UNF and soar into your future. Visit unf.edu to learn more.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Listen up. Just like football, timing is everything. Only water your lawn when necessary. And always check the weather before turning on those sprinklers.
Save water, save money, and score big. It's a win-win.
Whether you're on the field or at home, we're all on the same team. Florida's water. It's worth saving. This message brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Visit sjrwmd.com for more information.
Headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida, CSI Companies partners with leading healthcare and technology organizations nationwide to deliver workforce solutions. CSI prides itself on building meaningful relationships and provides personalized operations to fuel the success of businesses, both big and small. Whether it's finding the right talent for a job or seamlessly managing a project from start to finish, CSI has 3 decades of experience in getting the job done. This is your workforce solutions reimagined. Visit CSICompanies.com.
I get a lot of credit for tackles, but I really pride myself on just getting the ball to Logan in the right location and doing my job in protection in this scheme. Just kind of doing your job, and you kind of go unnoticed until you get noticed, which is kind of cool. I take pride in it. Just do your job. Playing linebacker in college definitely helped with my ability to cover downfield, and then after you've been in the league for a few years, you kind of get some little tricks from guys like Dewey and DT, guys that have covered a lot of punts and a lot of kickoffs in the league, and you you kind of learn from them, really. You learn from your teammates, you learn from watching film, and you kind of figure out, what kind of player you want to be. And are you going to be a savvy guy? Are you going to be a speed guy? Are you going to be an effort guy? And, you kind of just build your repertoire of tools to use in coverage, and I feel like I've done a pretty good job of that throughout my career.
That's Ross Matisic, Pro Bowl long snapper for the second year in a row. Last season, he was the first-team Associated Press All-Pro selection. We'll see what happens there this year. Last year, a bunch of tackles, had a forced fumble and a recovery, and some highlight plays a season ago. That's Ross Matisic. He'll be one of the guests tonight on Jaguars All Access Television. Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour from the Hyundai Studios, 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, and Jaguars YouTube. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to Kainani Stevens. And time now for the Baptist Health Injury Report. Baptist Health, changing healthcare for good. We start with the Jaguars. Walker Little did not practice, already called done for the year. He won't play at left tackle, so Cole Van Lanen will go there again. Ezra Cleveland with a knee issue, limited both days. The left guard, Ventrell Miller, ankle injury, limited both days so far. Darnell Savage, out of the concussion protocol, went full today after limited Wednesday. The Jag safety, we'll see where he kind of works into the organization on the back of the defense coming up this week. And then Brandon Sheriff, head, shoulders, knees, and toes, limited again on Thursday.
Got to give some credit to the old guys, which Mitch Morse and Brandon Sheriff.
Yeah, right.
I think Brandon Sheriff had his best year as a Jaguar yet, which kudos to him. Got more physical this year, I think, than he's ever been. And like everybody, he's battled through a lot of injuries. And I just want to make sure that everybody understands everybody battles stuff. Mitch Morse also, I mean, we have here you got two guys that are in double digits in years of being in the National Football League. And to make it through a complete season and play all the games, I mean, that's impressive. So kudos to those two guys because they have been very consistent. And one of the reasons why the Jaguars' offensive line, who I think has been the most improved position group of the year.
The Colts have 5 players on the list, but 4 of them have been full both days this week. That includes cornerback Julius Brents, wide receiver Josh Downs, guard Quentin Nelson, and wide receiver Michael Pittman with respective injuries, both full. Anthony Richardson, though, with a back issue, has not practiced yesterday or today. So that's not a good trend for him moving forward into this game.
You know, the crazy thing is that he's going to have to forever live with the tap out. And so anytime there is ever an injury that is that he is dealing with, people are going to say, oh, is he just tapping out? I mean, right? And that's just the way it is. He's the one who made the decision of doing that. Never seen a quarterback do that. Have you?
I don't remember it unless there's like a real injury or something. Like something more than I'm out of breath.
No, you might see a quarterback do one of these saying, I'm hurt, please come out here and help me.
Right.
But not tapping your helmet because I'm tired. Terrible. Hey, by the way, speaking of injuries, the last time that the Jaguars played the Colts, there were a lot of injuries that the Colts had. First of all, Kelly, the center, didn't play in that ball game, but for the most part, the Colts' offense was pretty healthy in that ball game. Kenny Moore, their nickelback, was not available in that game. Kwity Paye did not play. DeForest Buckner, who is the best defensive tackle for the Colts, definitely you could make the argument he's one of the 2 best defensive tackles in the AFC South. Did not play in that game. He was on injured reserve. So those guys look all to be available this week. So it's going to be a little bit different, a little bit more of a challenge than it was the last time around.
The Jaguars currently hold the number 5 spot in the 2025 NFL draft order. And there are 4 teams ahead of them, all at 3-13. Even if all 4 were to win this week and the Jaguars lose, they would still have a higher strength of schedule than the Patriots. So the highest the Jags could go in theory would be 2nd.
Yes.
If they were to win or
the other
lose,
ones have to win.
And the rest have to lose.
Jaguars have the worst strength of schedule. In other words, their opponents have a very bad win-loss record. Yeah. So the Jaguars would go to the front of the line, so to speak, on the draft pick. if the records were the same as everybody else with the exception of the New England Patriots.
Right, because records would be the same, but they have a worse strength of schedule. So
if they win, they're going to end up somewhere 8, 9, 10, somewhere in that range, because they're going to be, again, at the bottom of the rung or first in line to pick because of strength of schedule with other teams that would have a similar record of 5 wins.
Jaguars have made 8 picks in the top 5 overall since 2010, the most in the National Football League in that span.
That's not a good number. Not a good number. Can you name them?
Since 2010, let's see. Blaine Gabbert's in there, right? Who's top 10?
I was actually looking at this earlier in the day. I'm going to have to pull it up again.
Okay, I can give you 2012, obviously Justin Blackmon.
Yes.
2013 would have been Luke Jokel.
Mm-hmm.
2014 would have been, Blake Bortles, right?
Yeah, I think he was right at 5, wasn't he?
Yeah, and 3. And then 2015 would have been, was that Dante?
Yeah, that's right, Dante Fowler.
Dante Fowler. 2016 would have been Jalen Ramsey, right?
Correct.
2017, Fournette. 2018 was late because they weren't in the top 10 that year because they won in 2017.
Let's see. I'm going to go back here and start at the beginning just so that people can remember exactly who. Okay, we're going back to 10.
2010.
Okay, 10 was Tyson Alualu. He was 10th overall.
That's right. And then 11 was
11
Blaine.
was Blaine Gabbert.
Yep.
He was 10th overall
so
as
I'm right
well.
so far.
12
was
2012, Justin Blackmon at 5.
Correct.
13 was Luke Jokel at number 2 overall.
Got that one.
14 was Blake Bortles at number 3 overall.
3, got those.
Dante Fowler in 15 was 3 overall.
Mm-hmm.
In 16, Jalen Ramsey was 5th overall.
Mm-hmm.
Leonard Fournette in 17 was 4th overall.
Yep.
Could have had Patrick Mahomes there.
Could have.
Taven Bryan.
He was late, though. He was
29th.
That's right.
End of the first round. Josh Hines Allen in 19, 7th overall.
Mm-hmm.
2020, C.J. Henderson. Is he even playing in the league anymore?
I don't think he's been active. He's been hurt. Yes,
he was 9th overall. 2021, obviously, Trevor. 2022, Trayvon, obviously.
C.J. Henderson's with the Steelers currently. But has been
practice squad or active roster?
He's been active. He's been dinged up. Yeah.
And then 2023, Anton Harrison, and then 24, Brian Thomas Jr. Pretty amazing that Brian Thomas Jr., the 23rd overall pick, one of the great draft picks in Jaguars history so far. It's early, but let's not forget, too, that they traded back twice.
They did. And that also goes to the point that, all right, you can get good players if you pick good players in any part of this round or other rounds, too. Good players exist in most of the top rounds of the NFL draft. And even the deeper rounds, you can find a gem, but as long as you pick the guy that's right for you and the organization and they fit in the right way and they're a good player, then you got a good player.
But for the one position, it's different. I mean, if you look at the history of the quarterback position in the draft, you've got to be at the top or near the top to be able to get what many consider to be an elite player. Now, look, there are outliers to that. Patrick Mahomes was not a top pick. Aaron Rodgers was not a high first-round pick. Lamar was, again,
last
a late first-round pick.
Yeah,
which was – Jaguars could have had him too, by the way. Where was Josh Allen? Was he 3? I'm trying to remember where he was.
Pretty high, yeah.
Because if you look like the great quarterbacks of today, Patrick Mahomes, where was he at? Like 12, 14?
Yeah, middle of the round.
Something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen was
7th.
7th. There's another one not in the top 5. I mean, it's just shocking. Gosh, who else? Top quarterbacks in the league of today.
Yeah, Lamar was the same year as Josh Allen.
Let's look at it from the standpoint of passer rating. Okay, just out of curiosity.
Okay, we better hurry. We got
I
about a minute.
know. Passing leaders. Number 1 is Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
Number 2 is Jared Goff, number 1 overall.
Yep.
Joe Burrow, number 1 overall. Baker Mayfield, number 1 overall. Sam Darnold.
High.
Very
high.
3,
yeah.
I think. Of course, Jets screwed him up.
Yeah, we got to come back in a moment. We'll have head coach Doug Pederson in studio. We'll get his thoughts on Week 18, the final week of the season. The Doug Pederson Show is next. Thanks for listening to Jaguars Happy Hour.
Welcome to the Doug Pederson Show. Brought to you by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick and former Jaguar Jeff Lageman discuss the latest Jaguars news with the head coach. The Doug Pederson Show starts right now.
Welcome in. It is the Doug Pederson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. We're at the Hyundai Studios on the Jaguars Radio Network. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, and head coach Doug Pederson. Week 18. Been a long season, one more to go. Coming off a win, though, and, one final chance for these guys to get it on tape this week.
You're exactly right, and to go 4-2 in our division, which, wow, when you look at that, you should be, one of the teams they're talking about for postseason berths. But we're not, but it still says something for our team and how we can still – kind of take control of our division, and really to me that's kind of where it has to start each year, right? You want to control that, and this is an improved Colts team, even from week 5 I think it was when we played them earlier. They got more starters back on defense, but great opportunity for our guys to go out, play well, a lot of pride, and go get another win if possible.
Well, and if you get that win, I thought last week was, and you talked about this, I think, in your press conferences, the ability to play complementary football goes a long way.
It does, and I think sometimes you say complementary, and what does that look like? It just looks like last week the defense played well, offense played well. Even special teams did some good things on like the kick cover stuff, and we had, it was unique, but we had two 2-minute scenarios with special teams that we handled extremely well, and then defensively creating a takeaway. Which allowed the offense to go down and score points, and really, there's no pixie dust or magic sauce or whatever, but when you give yourself an opportunity like we did last week, chances are you take care of the football, you win the turnover margin, as we say each week, you get a chance to win those games.
Yeah, and what you said right there, take care of the football. I mean, the weather conditions were not exactly perfect. This week, a little different. It's indoor. You're going to have some great conditions, but protecting the football always is the most important thing.
It's the most important, especially against this Colts team, which is 6th in the NFL. I think in 24 takeaways. I think they got 15 INTs, nine fumbles, and they're doing a great job of getting the ball out. It's sort of in their DNA over the years. They've been really good at punching and knocking the ball out, and opportunistic balls get tipped around a little bit, and they come up with these INTs. So we got to do a great job of taking care of the football, handle the crowd noise, execute offense, defense, special teams, and play well.
Head coach Doug Pederson with us. We can ask you about Brian Thomas Jr. every single week, and there's good reason why. I mean, he continues to put up numbers, touchdowns now in 3 straight games. He was at 91 yards last week on 7 catches. One more to go for him. So what else do you want to see from Brian with 1 game left?
Just keep being Brian. Opportunities are going to come his way. We're going to still dial his number up and just want to see the consistency, which he's shown week in and week out. And I think Mac is getting an understanding of where he is in the route concept and being able to deliver the football. But just keep being Brian Thomas Jr. He's been explosive for us. He's been a big bright spot for us offensively and helped us win last week and really has had the success because of his hard work throughout the course of the season and what he's done and excited for him to finish this year strong and finish the right way.
Yeah, I thought that part of the reason he's having so much great success, obviously, Mac Jones played really well last week, his best game for you guys yet. But I think you guys as a coaching staff are doing a really good job of kind of hiding him, because the opponents are having a hard time of kind of dialing in and getting him doubled. I mean, how important is that when you have a player of Brian's caliber that the opponent knows that the ball is going to go to him to make sure that they can't do extra to stop him?
For us, it's everything. We want to move them around, because sometimes what we've seen lately is our opponent's number one corner will travel with Brian, especially early in a football game, but then they realize that we're moving him around the field, and then they finally just go, no, let's just double him with a safety. So it kind of takes some things away defensively, what they want to do schematically. It adds another resource. Usually a safety is what we've seen, over the top of a corner, or, maybe the second corner, whoever that is. And so the ability to move Brian around has really not only helped Brian, but it's also helped our offense have more explosive plays, stay on the field third down wise, and really being able to kind of execute the things we want to get done.
How many rookies have you coached in this position that have been able or could have handled what Brian is handling at this point? Because, look, I mean, the injuries that you've had at the wide receiver position, and I'm not talking about the team performance, I'm just talking about Brian specifically. How many guys have you ever coached that could have handled what Brian has handled this year? There are two guys that come to mind, and they were both. And I didn't coach him as a rookie, but Deshaun Jackson in Philadelphia was a guy that Andy Reid drafted, and they put a lot on his plate early. I remember I didn't get there till his second year, but and then Jeremy Maclin, the kid out of Missouri, he was another one that we felt, and I was there when we drafted him, and so a guy like that, we were able to kind of load his plate just a little bit. Smart, intellectual receivers. And Brian's the same way. Brian's right there with the both of those two, and probably a touch better because he's been able to handle the volume of information that we've given him each week. We're lining up in the slot, lining him outside, not just the Z but also the X, and you've seen him from time to time out of the backfield and putting him in different positions. So being able to do that with a guy like Brian. You see it every week. You see it with Justin Jefferson out of the backfield. You see it with Ross St. Brown in Detroit coming out of the backfield. You see Justin Jefferson doing those things. You see top receivers, because it's ways of getting the football into your best skill players' hands and let him go do his stuff.
Head coach Doug Pederson with us. Back in that Week 5 game, Jonathan Taylor was inactive for the Indianapolis Colts, but he's certainly been active the last few weeks for Indianapolis. 450 yards over the last 3 games, and then the last 2 weeks, 5 combined touchdowns. I mean, he's really starting to warm up late in the season. So how do you contain Taylor?
It's all hands, all eyes on deck, really. He's playing exceptionally well here down the stretch, and you're right. We didn't see him in that first game. We didn't even see Anthony Richardson, so we still don't know if we'll see Anthony Richardson this week. But speaking of Jonathan Taylor, he's been a dynamic running back, not only in Indianapolis but in this league for a while now, and he's playing probably the best he's played in a long, long time, and probably feels fresh and healthy and all that too. So that helps. And for us, it's just got to be gap sound, gap discipline. Your eyes, you've got to trust your eyes, trust your instincts, trust the things you've been working on during the week of practice, and then you have to tackle. You have to get these guys on the ground. Otherwise, they're going to break arm tackles. They're going to fall forward for an extra 4 to 6 yards, and those can be demoralizing, right? Those can be the difference of a 3rd and 6 or 7, or a 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1. Particularly on second down. So, it's just an all hands on deck. Just stay disciplined. Trust your keys. What's kind
of going to be interesting to watch is who's going to play quarterback, because that affects stopping Jonathan Taylor. Anthony Richardson is a runner. Joe Flacco is not, but Joe Flacco is a guy that if you look at the numbers with Alec Pierce and Pittman, they're vastly different with Joe as opposed to Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, it's a run first style with Anthony, and it's probably a throw first style with Joe, and we got Joe the first game, and he did Joe like things. Other than Joe's not a scrambler, but he scrambled. You remember late in that game, and I think they went down and scored a touchdown. So yeah, it's two different I think philosophies, two different sort of game plans that you got to be prepared for. But really, I think having the experience of playing Joe Flacco like we did earlier in the year helps us going into this ballgame.
If I'm a pass rusher, I want Joe.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely do, because you're not going to be standing on the line of scrimmage, or at least sitting on the line of scrimmage reading your keys if the other guy's in there.
All right, Coach, a couple Pro Bowlers announced earlier today. The Pro Bowl roster is announced. Logan Cook, Ross Matisick will be starters at the Pro Bowl. 3 alternates, BTJ, Hines Allen, and Trayvon Walker. So, the specialists don't get a lot of publicity except when things go wrong, right? But Logan Cook's done a lot of good things right, and Mr. Reliable Ross Matisick as well.
Yeah, happy for all 5 of those guys, and then particularly, Ross and Logan. I think this is Logan's first Pro Bowl. It's Ross's back-to-back, I believe, with him, and then the other guys. I felt in my gut that BT would probably make it, but maybe because he was a rookie and
first alternate though.
So he could easily go. And I think they'll all eventually go this year with the way that whoever's in the postseason and all that kind of stuff. But happy for all of them. They've been workhorses for us. Logan's had a great year, obviously punting the football. We know BT and the other guys do an outstanding job. So happy for all 5.
And I think one thing that Logan probably doesn't get recognized for, as most punters probably don't, is how good of a holder he is. And that kind of leads me also to Cam Little, who has had a fantastic year. And it reminds me also, going back to the first matchup against the Colts, he had the game winner, 49 yards. Yeah. How fortunate have you been to have a rookie kicker who has come in and who has been so reliable, dependable, but then also gives you the range as a coach to make sound decisions because he has that distance to him as well?
It's to be able to make those decisions makes it easier. Knowing you've got a 93, almost a 94% make field goal guy, in Cam. And then, obviously, like you mentioned, Logan does a great job of holding, and it kind of goes, unnoticed a little bit. But especially late in the, like last week in the rain, he made a couple nice holds, get the ball down, and, of course, kicking the field goal. But Cam has been again, you talk about a bright spot for our team this year. He's been a bright spot for us. His kickoffs have been extraordinary. Obviously, we know his field goals have been extraordinary, and he's done an outstanding job for a rookie kicker. I think he's leading all rookie kickers that were drafted, I think, in percentage and things like that. So just excited about him, his future. And obviously, Logan, Holding, and Ross. I mean, it's a good, a battery of 3, as they say, in that operation.
Coach, great stuff as always. Good luck to you. Final game of the season. Let's get another W. And sweep the Colts.
Sweep the Colts. That'd be great.
Back-to-back sweeps of division rivals, Logs.
Take it anytime.
Nothing wrong with that. Have a good one, Coach.
Thank you.
Back in a moment. This is the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Ranked as the nation's best public university by the Wall Street Journal, the University of Florida is on a mission to transform education. UF continues to help grow the economy through research breakthroughs and leadership in AI. And with its nationally recognized career services, UF students and graduates have never been better prepared to make a difference in the world. To learn more about how the University of Florida fuels bold ideas that make an impact around the globe, visit fromflorida.ufl.edu.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything. The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, Advantage You. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's the Get Holiday Ready sales event with Hank and Sam from the Ford crew. Today, a new shipment of inventory.
Hank, what's going on?
Another hauler full of new Ford trucks and SUVs, Sam.
So much SUV capability. Is that?
Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks for 47 years. And a big selection means...
big savings?
Yep, which means...
it's the best time to buy?
Well done, Sam. And time for America to get holiday ready with Ford.
Based on 1977 to 2023 CY Industry reported total sales.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
The Doug Pederson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. We're at the Hyundai Studios of the Miller Electric Center. Our thanks to Jaguars head coach Doug Pederson joining us each and every week throughout the season. The final Doug Pederson Show, the 2024 campaign.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's the Doug Pederson Show. Why are you thanking him for coming to his show?
I don't know. I'm trying to be nice. I don't know what... It's a new year, man. Like,
you're turning over a new leaf. You're being thankful.
I'm trying to be nice to people. Try that out for a while.
That's great, JP. I'm all for you being nice to people.
What are you trying to do here?
Instead of being the jerk that you typically are.
Oh, man. Hey, it's what it is. But Doug Pederson in the studio with us, and hey, 1 week to go. They know what it is. You got to go try to win the game. It's not like you just fold over and put guys out there to get stuff on tape. You got to go earn it still and go play.
Well, I think when you are where you are, which is basically getting to wrap up a disappointing season, you try to find any motivation that you possibly can, right? I mean, just like you might find offense to some words that somebody else uses from another team just to get you going, you know? Having a chip, finding a way to create a chip on your shoulder. And I think for the Jaguars, look, the opportunity to sweep the Colts, and then that would give them a 4-2 record in the AFC South, which would be a winning record. Look, it's something that's tangible. You can hold it, touch it. Is it going to make you feel better at the end of the day? Maybe a little better.
It'll make the drinks go down easier in Cancun next week.
Maybe a little better. But, I mean, it's not going to erase the disappointment of the season overall, but at least it's something that you can grab a hold of. And it provides, look, when you're talking to the team, that blank stare, that.
I know, I'm aware of what a blank stare is.
The blank stare
yes.
that a team can have.
Our radio audience really got a good eyeful of that.
Well, I know, especially the people on radio.
Yeah.
When you've been mathematically eliminated for a number of weeks, you kind of get that blank stare. But, I mean, you are professionals. You want to try to find ways to motivate yourself. And maybe something like this helps motivate you. Why not? Why not? But the tough part is that it's not been easy getting wins against the Colts in Indianapolis. Now, in Jacksonville, it's been a different story.
I mean, it hasn't been easy for the Jaguars to get wins most anywhere.
I know.
Logs.
But the Colts, I think in the series record, I was just looking at it because you have the flip card right here. Colts have a really nice flip card. 47 regular season meetings. The Indianapolis record is 27-20 over the Jaguars, as you might expect. Mm-hmm. The Colts record away is 10-14. It has been terrible of late. And their record at home, 17-6. 17-6. So do you know when the last time the Jaguars won in Indianapolis was?
Because
I don't.
Was it last year? Week 1, wasn't it? Calvin Ridley?
I thought it was, yeah.
Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
First half of last year.
Mm-hmm.
Of that first week, he went off in the first half of that game.
Interesting.
I think they won that game.
I think so. I think you might be right. The current Indianapolis streak, they have lost 3 in a row, so you would be correct because they lost both of them last year.
There you go. What do I get for that?
So it could be a sweep, 2-year sweep.
Could be a 2-year sweep.
2-year sweep.
That's right. You don't
kind of
mess
excited for the game, too, because they've got some really good cocktail sauce in Indianapolis.
They do. They have it in the press box? St. Elmo's?
They should. I think that's a great idea.
It's funny. I mean, we're talking about St. Elmo's Steakhouse in Indianapolis. Been there for like 120 years or something.
Yeah.
During the Combine, they actually bring samples over to Media Row.
Really?
At like 10 in the morning, you're like slurping down shrimp and cocktail sauce.
Can you imagine having a Bloody Mary with that?
Breakfast of champions.
That would be great.
It'll wake you up.
Oh, yeah, that'll wake you up. Yeah, the horseradish in that, woo. Good stuff.
Hey, let's come back. Or not. No, we'll come back. And we'll talk about Brian Thomas Jr., Jaguars wide receiver, Pro Bowl alternate. The first alternate in the AFC. Good chance he could go.
And we'll follow up on some of the conversation that we had with Doug about Brian Thomas Jr. because, I mean, the question that I asked of him and the point that I brought up to Doug, I mean, it's real. I mean, how many players can handle what he has been able to handle? And obviously the circumstances had to be just right for all of this to happen.
That's next on the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
Floridians, do you know how close you are to freshness? It's not a plane or a ship ride away. It's not across an ocean or over the equator. It's not even a far drive. The peak of freshness is at your grocery store, and it's called Fresh from Florida. Fresh from Florida is local produce grown by farmers right here in our own state, meaning it's always fresh, always in season, and always mouth-wateringly good. Look for the sunny Fresh from Florida logo or ask for it by name where you shop.
Football is back. Celebrate with a gay Duval meal deal. Score 2 Roller Grill favorites and a 20-ounce Coca-Cola soft drink for just $4.50. That means you can choose any 2 to pair with your Coke. 2 hot dogs, 2 tornadoes, 2 roller bites, or mix and match. Whether you're stopping for a quick snack or tailgating with friends, this is a victory for every Jags fan. Deal happening now through January 2nd, 2025. Stop by to purchase in store.
It's here that a tiny newborn has the heart surgery needed to save her life. It's here that a first grader learns to speak clearly and confidently. It's here that a 12-year-old athlete builds the strength to run full speed again. It's here at Wolfson Children's Hospital that answers are found, courage is shown, and odds are beaten every day. Wolfson Children's, always here. Visit wolfsonchildrens.com.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
The Doug Pederson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. We are on the Jaguars Radio Network presented by the University of Florida, #1 university in the U.S. News and World Report's #1 state for education. The Jaguars and the Colts coming up in Week 18. Both teams out of the race. Brian Thomas Jr., though, Jaguars' first-round pick, wide receiver, the rookie. There's no rookie wall for him. He is 5th in the NFL in receiving yardage this year. First among all rookie receivers. There are 4 rookies in the league this year over 1,000 yards receiving, which is the first time that's happened. He won't chase down Jamar Chase, who leads the way with over 1,600 yards, but he'll be in a race in the final week to overtake Amon-Ra St. Brown, CeeDee Lamb. So he could finish 3rd. Justin Jefferson's at 1,400. It would take a monster game to get there. But BTJ hanging in there, still playing at a high level, and it's really just grown as the season has gone for Brian.
Yeah, and looking at some of the top receivers in the league, you know, you got, as far as yards go, Jamar Chase 1, Justin Jefferson 2, CeeDee Lamb 3, Amon-Ra St. Brown 4, Brian 5. I mean, that's amazing company to be in. And I think what will get better as time goes is I always look at catch percentage as kind of a big deal. So it's like targets, actual catches, and what the ratio is there. You know, Jamar Chase is 72.7% catch percentage, which is pretty good, right? But Amon-Ra St. Brown, 81.3, a top 20 catch percentage. That means that when he gets targeted, he is catching the ball. That's impressive. Brian, just for people's curiosity, 65.6. That puts him 79th in the league in catch percentage. And as you know, you obviously want to have him get higher, but he's going to be a big play guy. So I think his catch percentage is never going to be that of the Amon-Ra St. Brown, because I think the depth of target is going to be deeper for Brian on average for his career.
Usually, like the really high catch percentage guys are running backs. You know, they have the
running
short,
backs,
high percentage.
Tight ends.
That's right.
Possession receivers.
Yes.
In that range.
Pat Freiermuth of the Steelers, the tight end, is 85% catch percentage. It's 8th best in the NFL.
Bucky Irvin, Buccaneers running back number 1 at catch percentage.
So that makes sense.
A-Chain, running back for the Miami Dolphins, number 2. Bijan Robinson's in there. Rashad White. I mean, all running backs are all at the top of the catch percentage.
Yeah, there you go. But Brian is that'll come at some point when the offense kind of gets its act together as a whole, I think. And there's connection and not as much change the quarterback position, right? I mean, Trevor Lawrence. And actually, a lot of the success in the last back part of the season last month has been with Mac Jones throwing it up there and missing him sometimes, and then Brian not connecting with him. And they've got to work on this offseason, Brian Thomas Jr. and Trevor Lawrence getting back on the same page.
There's still
again.
a lot of meat left on the bone.
Absolutely.
And I also think that, at the beginning of this year, Brian was kind of an afterthought. Because, look, he's a rookie. You know, a lot of times rookies got to prove themselves, right? So they're not the focal point of the game plan. But I think what makes this last game interesting, besides, can the Jaguars get a sweep of the Colts, and can they end the season on a winning note with a winning record in the division, is where does Brian Thomas Jr. fall amongst the other rookies? So we're going to have kind of a rookie watch throughout the course of the game because Malik Neighbors is, I believe, like 39 yards behind him.
Yeah.
Brock Bowers is behind him as well, and I think he's like 34 yards behind him. So who's going to have the rookie title for the most yards receiving? And Malik Neighbors is a former teammate. Look, friendly competition, right, between LSU guys.
They talk to each other. He said that the other day. Brian did. I mean,
and I don't think they've made any bets or anything like that, so we're not tracking it for that reason. We're just saying that it's pretty cool because you always want to beat a former teammate of yours. And we'll also be looking at where he falls in NFL history amongst rookie when it comes to receiving yards, because the list there is flush with LSU alum. But Brian has a legitimate opportunity to crack the top 5 and surpass one of the great receivers of all time, Randy Moss.
That's an all-time rookie season there.
So here's the numbers.
Now, people would argue that he should have been Rookie of the Year. That should have been Fred Taylor that year, 98.
Well, yeah, I mean, legitimate argument.
But Randy Moss put up, 17 touchdowns?
Well, the touchdowns made the difference with that. Fred didn't have the touchdowns because James Stewart got them all.
That's right.
But if you look at where he could be, right now he is 8th in NFL history and with all-time rookie receiving yards in his rookie season. And he needs 15 yards to pass Michael Clayton, who, by the way, is an LSU guy.
He is. A little further back, but yeah.
Yeah, 90, back in the 90s?
98, wasn't
it?
90s?
99? 98, somewhere in there. OBJ is at 6. If he gets 127 yards receiving in this game, he passes OBJ. LSU guy also. If he passes Randy Moss, he will need 135 yards receiving. That's doable.
It's definitely doable.
Doable, totally doable. I mean, I think Brian's capable of a 180-yard game if given the right opportunity. Not going to be easy against Gus Bradley. Gus plays everybody back a little bit. But if I'm Mac Jones, I'm throwing the ball towards Brian Thomas Jr. I'm gonna make sure that he's got an opportunity at climbing and getting to those numbers.
It's a pretty good idea if you're Mac Jones. We're back in a moment. Jags fans want customized Jags furniture for your home? Check out zipchair.com and browse all customizable options. ZipChair furniture for fans. Jaguars have 2 starters at the Pro Bowl. We'll get to them when we come back. It's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Ranked as the nation's best public university by the Wall Street Journal, the University of Florida is on a mission to transform education. UF continues to help grow the economy through research breakthroughs and leadership in AI. And with its nationally recognized career services, UF students and graduates have never been better prepared to make a difference in the world. To learn more about how the University of Florida fuels bold ideas that make an impact around the globe, visit fromflorida.ufl.edu.
It's the Get Holiday Ready sales event with Hank and Sam from the Ford crew. Today, a new shipment of inventory.
Hank, what's going on?
Another hauler full of new Ford trucks and SUVs, Sam.
So much SUV capability. Is that?
Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks for 47 years. And a big selection means...
big savings?
Yep, which means...
it's the best time to buy?
Well done, Sam. And time for America to get holiday ready with Ford.
Based on 1977 to 2023 CY Industry reported total sales.
How close can you get with Verizon Access? Front row close. Red carpet close.
Oh my God!
Backstage passes close. Playing quarterback for your favorite NFL team close. Okay, not that close. But watching from the sidelines close? You bet. Get into the experiences you love, like concerts, games, and exclusive pre-sales just for being a Verizon customer. Verizon Access, you're in. Woo! Learn more at verizon.com/access.
Are you ready for some football? Well, you are now, thanks to Ticketmaster. As the official ticket marketplace of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the NFL, Ticketmaster's got the best way to take it to the house when it comes to being there live. They're the safest and most convenient marketplace to score fully verified Jaguars tickets. And even if your plans get broken up or worse, turned over, Ticketmaster gives you more flexibility to sell your seats. So get those touchdown celebrations ready and score your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/Jaguars.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
There's a sense of relief just because I feel like I've had a few seasons that were good enough. Again, it's all part of God's timing, and that's something that I've had to trust, and it's kind of, sometimes it's hard to trust that, you know? But, yeah, it all worked out when it was supposed to work out, so I'm excited. I mean, I think statistically, yes, as of now. I know we have one more game left. It was definitely by far my best until Oakland, just kind of down game, which, you know, those are going to happen. And, But, yeah, I think probably statistically probably one of my best. So.
Logan Cook, Pro Bowl punter for the Jaguars, announced earlier today he's headed to Orlando for the Pro Bowl games. Not exactly sure what punting games there are there, but we'll find out, I suppose, in January. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. It's the Doug Pederson Show, presented by Fresh from Florida. Logan Cook and long snapper Ross Matisic named to the Pro Bowl for the AFC and starters. And for Matisic, it's his second go-around in the Pro Bowl, second year in a row. He was also a first-team Associated Press All-Pro selection last year, and those have yet to be named. But for Logan Cook, a guy who's been punting at a high level really his entire career, he finally gets an honor that's very much deserved.
Yeah, the amazing thing, too, to me is that he's a right-footed punter, and he throws lefty.
Yeah, right?
Right? I mean, isn't that kind of weird?
Uh-huh. He hasn't had one this year, a fake yet, has he? Like
no,
a throw?
But I think that, I think a lot of the special teams coordinators probably realize that he does punt right and then throw left now because he's been around the league for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And teams have seen, special teams coaches will keep a catalog of every fake that a punter or a special teams coordinator has ever had.
Well, he's been perfect.
In their career.
Logan's been perfect, 4 of 4 passing for 4 first downs.
But I remember when the Jaguars got Logan Cook and the special teams coordinator was all excited that he had a right-footed punter that threw left because at that time, the teams in the league didn't know that.
Right.
And so there was a level of excitement because he felt that they were going to surprise whichever team that they used the fake on first because they would not be expecting a left-handed thrower. And I believe it was Joe DeCamillis back then.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and he was a little more apt to roll the dice and every once in a while, right?
Pick and choose, I think, where you are at in the season. But Logan's been very effective as a thrower. And look, Logan's an athlete. There's a lot of punters that I don't know if I would consider being a great athlete. Just because you play professional football and you're a punter doesn't mean make you a great athlete. It makes you a really good punter or a great punter. But I think he's a very good athlete overall. Logan Punter. Logan Cook. Excuse me. Logan Punter.
You're right. Yeah, woo. You know what it is.
Yeah, that's his middle name, Punter.
That's
exactly. Logan Punter Cook.
What it is. And from a long snapper perspective, I mean, Ross Matisic had some linebacker experience in college early, and then they would actually let him long snap and play some linebacker too at the same time. So he has that at least awareness of how to make a play when he finally does get down the field, and he has help around him to teach him some of the tricks of the trade, and it's paid off. Certainly last year with a bunch of tackles, a forced fumble, recovery, and it's not every long snapper in the league is somebody you have to account for.
I think Heath Farwell said it best today in his presser, which for those people that want to see it, go to Jaguars.com, and you can watch the video of the coordinators that spoke today. And Heath Farwell talked about how a lot of long snappers snap the ball and then really aren't much of a factor in coverage. In fact, many of them are a non-factor. So they'll put sometimes nobody to block the long snapper because the long snapper just wants to snap and he doesn't want to get dirty. Well, Ross is a legitimate coverage threat. He makes tackles. He gets down the field fast. And he was very accurate today in describing how teams account for Ross as a coverage player. And that's the high level of respect, and one of the reasons why that Ross is a 2-time Pro Bowler now. And he's very good at what he does, not only snapping but also in the coverage stuff.
When we return, the Jaguars defense coming up this week. How do they stop Jonathan Taylor?
It's not going to be easy. Just let me add one little thing about Ross Matisic, because once you snap, there's also something that you have to do before you cover, which is protect. A lot of opposing coordinators know that the snapper's head is down and they have a hard time picking up their blocking responsibility. Ross is never a target in that category. He's an excellent blocker as well.
Back in a moment, it's the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
Can you imagine rising for work before the crack of dawn? Tending to hundreds of acres of land before dusk? Well, that's what happens on 47,000 Florida farms every day. Florida's farmers work hard to grow nutritious food for you and your family. And you can help support them by enjoying delicious Fresh from Florida produce. Look for the sunny Fresh from Florida logo where you shop, or visit freshfromflorida.com to learn more.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
It's here that a tiny newborn has the heart surgery needed to save her life. It's here that a first grader learns to speak clearly and confidently. It's here that a 12-year-old athlete builds the strength to run full speed again. It's here at Wolfson Children's Hospital that answers are found, courage is shown, and odds are beaten every day. Wolfson Children's, always here. Visit wolfsonchildrens.com.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
We're on the Jaguars Radio Network, presented by the University of Florida, #1 university in the U.S. News and World Report's #1 state for education. It's the Doug Pederson Show, presented by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to head coach Doug Pederson. In the opening segment, each and every week, this 2024 campaign. It has 1 week remaining. The Jaguars are in Indianapolis this Sunday, a 1 o'clock kickoff time at Lucas Oil Stadium against the also eliminated Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson, Colts quarterback, on the injury report again this week with a back issue, has not practiced either day. So Joe Flacco most likely will get the time in the game. And they've had a real burst lately in the running game with Jonathan Taylor over the last 3 weeks going for 450 yards combined in those 3 outings and 5 touchdowns over the last 2 weeks. Jonathan Taylor getting hot, but a little too late for the Colts. They obviously lost last week to the Giants to get eliminated, but he's still a threat, and he hasn't been on the field a lot against the Jaguars over the last couple years.
No, and I think when Anthony Richardson is on the field, it makes it a little more difficult to stop Jonathan Taylor because you're also factoring in that Anthony Richardson is a potential carrier of the ball. And when Joe Flacco's out there, you're not factoring him in because he can't run anywhere. But the one thing that he can do is throw the ball better than Anthony Richardson. So it's kind of like, okay, give and take. And I think that the Colts will have the ability to score more points with Joe Flacco at the helm than with Anthony Richardson. But they definitely have the ability to run the ball better with Anthony Richardson at the helm.
Jaguars defense just has to stick with it, though, and be in the right place. The gaps, everything Doug Pederson just talked about earlier in this show.
Well, look, the defense has had a tough year. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, they're bottom of the league in nearly every category, from total defense to points allowed to pass defense, takeaways. The one area that they're not in the bottom 5 is run defense. And in some games, they've been really good in that category. And so this is a game that you have to be really good in that category. But if Joe Flacco's playing quarterback as we expect, you also have to be able to communicate in the back end. Otherwise, you're going to get scorched like you did at the end of the Colts game the first time in Jacksonville. So, pick your poison. I mean, JP, if you're a defensive player or just right now, who would you rather see, Anthony Richardson or Joe Flacco?
It depends on what part of the
with
defense.
Jonathan Taylor, which one do you want?
Well, it depends on what part of the defense I'm in, right?
Okay, if you're just, J.P. Shadrick, who do you want to see?
I mean, Richardson runs it around a whole lot more, and you never know what he's going to do.
Right.
Flacco's going to stand in there and throw it around.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to see Flacco. I'd rather see Anthony Richardson because having Anthony Richardson on the field really minimizes the impact that an Alec Pierce and the other wide receiver, Michael Pittman, can have. And Pittman, thank goodness, signed a contract last year based on more potential in what he did with previous quarterbacks and not so much with Anthony Richardson because Anthony Richardson doesn't throw him the ball enough to warrant a big contract.
Well, we also saw it back in Week 5 between these teams that the Jaguars secondary in key moments can lose focus. And Alec Pierce had a big fourth quarter in that game with Flacco throwing him the football, and you got to stay focused on the back end, especially with Flacco. He can take advantage of some of those mistakes.
Pierce had, in the closing moments of that game in Week 5, he had 3 catches for 134 yards and a touchdown and was a non-factor throughout the majority of the whole game.
Anything.
But let's go back to last week. Okay, the Jaguars were able to get the job done against Tennessee. Okay, great job. Antonio Johnson had a really nice play, the pass breakup, the PBU at the end of the game there, which kind of ended the comeback. But you go back a couple plays prior to that, Antonio Johnson lost the tight end on a wheel route, and if the ball had been thrown accurately by Mason Rudolph to Okonkwo, that would have been a touchdown. And so the one thing that was good about that game is that it seemed that Dewey Wingard's presence really calm things down, clean things up a little bit. This week you get Savage back. It'll be expecting to get Savage back. He's cleared from the protocol.
Yeah.
We'll see kind of how that rotation works, but I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to rotate that, and can they take another step in getting cleaner in the back end.
We'll return with a look at Mac Jones. Will this be his final outing with the Jaguars?
I would think so, but we'll talk about it.
We will when we come back. Register your furry friend for the Jaguars official four-legged fan club for pets presented by Forever Vets Animal Hospital. Visit jaguars.com/promotion/four-legged fan club and sign up today. It's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Ranked as the nation's best public university by the Wall Street Journal, the University of Florida is on a mission to transform education. UF continues to help grow the economy through research breakthroughs and leadership in AI. And with its nationally recognized career services, UF students and graduates have never been better prepared to make a difference in the world. To learn more about how the University of Florida fuels bold ideas that make an impact around the globe, visit fromflorida.ufl.edu.
It's the Get Holiday Ready sales event with Hank and Sam from the Ford crew. Today, a new shipment of inventory.
Hank, what's going on?
Another hauler full of new Ford trucks and SUVs, Sam.
So much SUV capability. Is that?
Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks for 47 years. And a big selection means...
big savings?
Yep, which means...
it's the best time to buy?
Well done, Sam. And time for America to get holiday ready with Ford.
Based on 1977 to 2023 CY Industry reported total sales.
Football and Miller Lite. Duval's greatest pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going well past postgame. Sunday night overtimes. Followed by Monday morning pride. Knocking on bar tops for luck. Kicking back on any given Sunday. You never forget the way some things taste. Jags football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank. Advantage you. Member FDIC. And the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
How close can you get with Verizon Access? Front row close. Red carpet close.
Oh my God!
Backstage passes close. Playing quarterback for your favorite NFL team close. Okay, not that close. But watching from the sidelines close? You bet. Get into the experiences you love, like concerts, games, and exclusive pre-sales just for being a Verizon customer. Verizon Access, you're in. Woo! Learn more at verizon.com/access.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Welcome back to the Doug Pederson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. The Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts coming up this Sunday at 1 o'clock kickoff time. Lucas Oil Stadium, downtown Indianapolis, the site. And could it be the final game in a Jaguars uniform for Mac Jones, a quarterback? It's the final year of his rookie contract. He came over, of course, in a trade in the offseason. And he's had significant playing time, of course, with Trevor Lawrence out with the shoulder injury and concussion. And 2-4 record so far for Mac Jones, 66% passing. Just over 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns, 7 picks. Where do you stand on Mac? And you know, free agent after this year, would you bring him back around? What's the feel here?
Well, I mean, first of all, you're not going to be willing to pay him top money to compete for a starting job, because that's what Mac Jones, I'm sure, is going to be looking for, to be opportunity to be the guy again.
Yeah.
He's not going to get a clear-cut, hey, you're our guy, we're paying you, and you're going to be our guy for the next 4 or 5 years, and here's a big contract. He's not going to get that. He'll get a come in and compete kind of a contract from somebody, but that's more money than, hey, come in and compete and be a backup money. The reality is that look at his record, look at his stats, and then also look at the number of points that he's been able to generate as a starter with the Jaguars. It's a little bit over 13 a game, which is not a very high number. But I give him credit. There's a lot of quarterbacks that need time on task to be able to get better. And he definitely got better this past game. It was his best game as a pro, a 122 rating. He was efficient. He protected the ball. The weather conditions weren't perfect. And I thought he did a good job.
Best game as a Jaguar.
Yeah, best.
As a pro, right.
Best game as a Jaguar.
Yes.
Exactly. I meant to say that, but didn't come out that way. And I thought his feet were very calm. He didn't have the happy feet. He wasn't indecisive. And I thought that went a long way, and give some credit to the offensive line because they enabled him to be that way. And I think in weeks past, from talking to Doug Pederson, you and I, and the week before, we'd asked him about, what do you want to see better out of Mac? And he said, I want him to trust it, to trust the protection, to trust the offense. And that's a matter of calming the world down a little bit and making sure that your feet are calm, your mind is calm, and your thought process is clean. And I thought it really showed in this game. His feet were really good. He was able to step into his throws. And when he's able to do that, he can be accurate. Go back to the last preseason game against Atlanta where he started, when all the starters were basically out.
Yeah.
I thought it was a very similar performance to that. And that's kind of what we were expecting all year, but we didn't get it in the previous games. I thought there was a little bit of panic in him at times. And he didn't see the field because when he'd see a flash, his eyes would drop, and then he would want to take off, and then he didn't keep his eyes down the field. And at times he did that without any legitimate flash of oncoming danger. So I hope he gets better, because if he gets better in this game, then what teams are going to do, they're going to go back and they're going to look at their evaluation of him when he was coming out. There's some teams out there that are going to have a very good grade on him when he was coming out. Then they're going to look at the situation in New England as well. Hey, look, it wasn't the best situation. He had inexperienced offensive coordinators. He didn't get great coaching. And then he went to Jacksonville, started off rough, but then he improved, and then he showed. If he could put together one more good game here, he could make millions. He could make millions with another performance similar to what he just had or better this week. He could make millions of dollars off of that alone.
No pressure, Mac. It's the NFL.
It's professional football.
That's what happens.
There's pressure everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just the reality of it, And look, I hope he plays great. Yeah, I do. I mean, look, I always rooted for him. I remember watching him at bowls, and when he was at Alabama, I was hoping he would do good. I mean, he's a hometown guy, and, want him to play well for our team.
Let's come back. Final thoughts ahead of this Week 18 matchup. Jaguars Colts coming up this Sunday. This is the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
Floridians, do you know how close you are to freshness? It's not a plane or a ship ride away. It's not across an ocean or over the equator. It's not even a far drive. The peak of freshness is at your grocery store, and it's called Fresh from Florida. Fresh from Florida is local produce grown by farmers right here in our own state, meaning it's always fresh, always in season, and always mouth-wateringly good. Look for the sunny Fresh from Florida logo or ask for it by name where you shop.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 177, has been powering Jacksonville since 1912. Powering where we compete, where we're entertained, our bridges and highways, and where we live and work. IBEW 177 has been powering Jacksonville for more than a century and will continue long into the future. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 177, is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Football is back. Celebrate with a gay Duval meal deal. Score 2 roller grill favorites and a 20-ounce Coca-Cola soft drink for just $4.50. That means you can choose any 2 to pair with your Coke. 2 hot dogs, 2 tornadoes, 2 roller bites, or mix and match. Whether you're stopping for a quick snack or tailgating with friends, this is a victory for every Jags fan. Deal happening now through January 2nd, 2025. Stop by to purchase in store.
Hey Jags fans, stop dreaming of creating your game day fan cave and build the Jaguars den of your dreams with ZipChair. When it comes to maximum comfort, ZipChair.com is the only place for officially licensed Jaguars recliners, sofas, bar stools, office and gaming chairs, all featuring high-quality embroidered Jags logos. Crack open a few cold ones in the comfort of a ZipChair and make your home the place to be on game day. Head over to ZipChair.com and save 20% today. Use code JagsRadio at checkout. ZipChair.com, furniture for fans.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Welcome back to the final moments of the Doug Pederson Show. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Final show of the season. Presented by Fresh from Florida. Jaguars and the Colts coming up week 18. So, what a year it's been. It's been a year, let's say that.
Yeah, I think that would be accurate. Been a tough year.
It has.
You know, and, the year is wrapping up. You know, you hope that going forward there's some clarity, number one, and number two, that the health of your quarterback and the direction of your quarterback is all pointing up. You know, because in order to have one of these franchises that is always at the top, you got to have great leadership, but you got to have great quarterback play. And, I hope that all of that can be achieved, for the fan base here in Jacksonville.
We'll see what happens after this game. After the game, you got to figure out what the plan is moving ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of the unknown, right?
That's the weird part about this week.
I think both teams are kind of in that kind of conversation right now. I think the Colts fans, 4 consecutive years without a postseason appearance, and there's some questions on is that a disciplined group and is there accountability there, and with their quarterback situation, that's a tough place to be in. And here in Jacksonville, you got a quarterback who got a big extension and wasn't able to perform at the level of expectation. Team wasn't at the level of expectation. Quarterback ended up being hurt at the end of the year. Shoulder issue, concussion. So there's a lot of concern and a lot of, I think, want of knowing to what the future holds, and nobody really knows that.
Nobody knows, but the future, at least immediately, is Week 18 in Indianapolis, Lucas Oil Stadium. Jaguars have a chance to sweep the Colts in the season series and finish the year with a winning record in the AFC South.
Something to grab a hold of.
It's yes, something,
and again, something to look forward to. Look, Brian Thomas Jr. and how he finishes the year, where he ranks with all the other rookies, also in NFL history. I love watching this team play. Always have. And Brian Thomas Jr. adds another element of love for watching my team.
I thought you meant this 2024.
I'm talking about
this franchise.
I mean, look, I love watching this organization win or lose. It's my team.
Yeah.
Okay? Brian Thomas Jr. has added a level of fun of watching this team when there hasn't been anything that this team's been playing for. And I appreciate him. I really do, because I know how hard it is for rookie receivers to have an impact in this game. In fact, you can have a long conversation about John Osher and some of the great Colt receivers, Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, that didn't come out of the gate and just weren't automatically great receivers, especially Reggie Wayne. It took him a while.
Sure.
Very rarely does a rookie wide receiver waltz onto the scene and have an impact similar to Brian Thomas Jr. And the circumstances kind of helped that along, I guess you could say, in some respects, because of the injuries to the other guys.
Jaguars All Access Television tonight, Fox 30, an hour tonight.
We got an hour-long special with the specialist. You got 3 guys. You don't want to spend some time with them.
You're going to get some time with them, that's for sure.
And I'm hopeful for a wing break.
The Strange Sports Brewery tonight in Springfield. Go check them out. It's a 7 o'clock start. Our thanks to head coach Doug Pederson, our entire crew, Joe Fortunato, Brent Reber, David Cho. For Jeff Lageman, I'm JP Shadrick. Thank you for listening tonight and all season long. It's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.